It's World Cup, people. Get excited. It's the early line right here on the SportsGrid Network. It's a Monday. How much information was passed through on Friday, Saturday, Sunday? It's our job to keep you up to date, but also looking forward. Did you know tonight another game is going to be played in the NBA Finals? This time, Game 3 from Madison Square Garden with the Knicks up 2-0 already after 2 victories in San Antonio. The president in the house tonight. Knicks watch parties have been canceled. A lot of energy in New York City, and also we'll get you up to date there on the NHL. Unbelievable first 3 games of that series, which now sees Vegas in command with a chance to win a Stanley Cup. All of that and much more over these 2 hours, giving the people what they need. That's our job, Joe, and we're going to do it today.
Yeah, what a weekend. Interesting, to say the least, Donnie. And what a week it's going to be, of course. Kicks off World Cup action this week. Still got the finals rolling on. We got a little something for everybody still coming up this week.
Little something for everybody. Thursday, World Cup, and away you go. Hundreds of matches, multiple cities here, high ticket prices, and much more. But if you were looking on the weekend for energy and a topic that you need to sink your teeth into, you know who's got you covered? It's Joe Ranieri here. Fill up that cup of coffee. Extra caffeination is needed on a Monday, Joe. Take it away.
Well, Donnie, it was an interesting weekend in sports. And let's start with the fact, for the first time that I can ever remember, we actually had a Sunday in early June without any sort of finals game to watch on TV. But on Saturday, well, Saturday we had pure, unadulterated chaos in the Stanley Cup finals again. And it is officially a must-watch event for every single sports fan in America. Whether you like hockey or you don't, this is must watch. Embrace the chaos. That is the only way to describe what is going on between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Vegas Golden Knights. We are only 3 games into this series, and it is already the craziest, most ridiculous Stanley Cup finals that I have ever seen in my entire life. And we've seen a few along the way, Donnie. Saturday night in Las Vegas was absolute bedlam. The Golden Knights are up 4-0 in the second period. Mitch Marner is dropping the fastest natural hat trick in finals history, and then later had a penalty shot that would have made it 5-0 there, except he couldn't get that in. We were already anointing Mitch Marner the MVP. Prediction markets were going crazy. The game was completely out of hand. Just turn it off, right? Wrong. The Hurricanes in the third period came roaring back, dropping 3 goals in 39 seconds, erasing a 4-goal deficit. And guess what we got? More overtime. Overtime in which Carolina has not lost a game in this postseason yet. But Vegas finally and barely survives with a 5-4 win. Not in 1, but in double overtime to take a 2-1 series lead. So we've been watching this a long time, Donnie, and I can tell you, this is must-watch theater, and I don't care what sport you love. These 2 teams have combined for 25 goals in just 3 games. 25 goals in 3 games. That is the highest scoring start to a final series in 45 years. Even John Tortorella, the Vegas coach, sat at the podium after the game with a face and just looked like a ghost. He had no idea what he just witnessed. It's saying, I've never experienced anything like it. The NHL suits were terrified before the series started because they thought 2 non-traditional markets cannot draw casual eyeballs. Yeah. Well, guess what? Casual fans, if you are not watching this, you need to start immediately because you are out of your mind. No lead is safe, no goal is guaranteed, and the intensity is pure madness. This thing has the makings of an all-time classic that will be talked about for generations. So stop what you're doing this week. I know you got a lot going on, but make yourself available because tomorrow night, Game 4, Donnie, in Vegas, I am going to once again embrace the chaos because at this point, you better know it's coming.
And also, like a 4-0 lead. Like, I'm watching this game live and tweeting it out, basically saying, like, hey, Toronto, look at what Mitch Marner's doing at this point. I turned it off and went to bed, woke up the next day, saw that final score. I had to look at it 3 or 4 times. I wasn't even sure who actually won the game. Then you see 5-4 final Vegas, like, oh, my goodness, all that chaos, and it ends up on a real fluky goal, as it always does in overtime. What a crazy series here. What a way to get your week started. And by the way, we got a big week ahead of us here. Let's get into the early line topics. And if you were watching the French Open, well, good luck to you. A lot of names nobody ever heard of, and it starts with Alexander Zverev. Wins his first Grand Slam title at Roland Garros. And also to tie this in, Joe, how many times did we tell the people on our PME part of TEL, like, wait a second, over 1.5 people to win a major this year? No, it's going to be one or the other. They're going to sweep through, up already probably going to clinch it here, because you know somebody else is going to win a major other than Zverev the rest of the way as we go. Impressive stuff, and also first-time Grand Slam title there for him.
Yeah, I mean, the old German there. I mean, 5 sets, too, Donnie. It was not easy. Yeah. Flavio Cabali, who a lot of folks I know were on because his numbers were just, the minute everyone who anybody had heard of was out of the tournament, they started throwing telephone number odds up for some of these guys. And it was actually very entertaining, the finals. And kudos to him for finally breaking through.
Mira Andreeva, another one. How about this? That teenager wins a major championship, her first at the French Open. A lot of firsts over there in France.
Yeah, unbelievable, right? 19 years old, I think, teenager. Again, with all the big names having gotten knocked out early, there was an opportunity for some new names and people to make a, shall we say, we're going to be hearing a lot about them in this sport moving forward.
Scary stuff ramping up here for the World Cup. Christian Eriksen here falls unconscious during a match, Joe. How about that one?
Yeah, that was shades. We've seen that happen before, have we not? Kind of scary there. Nora, hopefully everything is okay. He's all right. He'll be back up and ready to go for competition.
How about this, Joe? Lawsuit filed against the UFC to host that UFC at the White House here. I don't know what that's going to do, because that's set to go off this week, Joe.
Yeah, no, I think that's interesting, to say the least, Donnie, given the fact that, I don't know, maybe the Justice Department will step in and be like, I don't think so. That cage might not be going anywhere anytime soon anyway, from what we understand, Donnie.
Yeah, but Joe, you never know. As long as you find a judge somewhere that likes you or went to your alma mater, you can overturn anything, anytime, anywhere. So we'll see what happens a little bit later this week. Nelly Korda on fire on the LPGA Tour. How about this one? U.S. Women's Open. Bang! Last putt. Was it to say the last putt, Joe? Come right down to the 18th?
Yeah. Right. Last putt, Donnie. I mean, that's what you call pressure, and that's what you call delivering. And Nelly Korda's been doing it for a while. It's kind of hard to, but it feels like she's been around forever. But kudos to her. Congrats. You know what they say? Drive for show, putt for dough. Right, Donnie?
Exactly. You know what they say about Connor McDavid? You can't win your 5th Ted Lindsay Award without winning your 4th here. I don't know who Ted Lindsay is. I don't know what the award is, but I know McDavid's good.
Yeah, well, that's just, I mean, it's the MVP, so and he deserved it. I don't know anybody that did not think he was going to be the MVP. I don't know anybody that thought he was not going to be the MVP. It was kind of an easy race there.
You know, I'm trying to think like on NFL or NBA terms, like just put a player's name out there that the general public has no idea. Like if you won the Michael Jordan Award in the NBA, it's probably like, yeah, that's probably the best player. If you won the Wayne Gretzky Award, you know what? That's probably the best player. If you won the Babe Ruth Award, that's probably the best player. I don't even know who Ted Lindsay is. That's the MVP award. That's ridiculous here. Kimi Antonelli wins 5th straight Monaco Grand Prix. And by the way, Joe, I hear you can have a nice tax shelter in Monaco as well and save some money. How about that?
Yeah, and I heard one of the, was it Kim Kardashian was stealing the show in Monaco. There is more people talking about Kardashian than the actual winner.
Unbelievable stuff. The Ted Lindsay Award is your MVP trophy. Make me commissioner, please. We'll be right back.
lot of the talk has been about sports betting handle being down or flat, right, because of the threat of prediction markets and the growth of them. But we've seen Kalshi actually kind of plateau for the first time in recent memory. Looking at a graphic right now, we've had the spike for the Super Bowl, and then this is usually when things die down. Yes, there's March Madness, but usually sports betting handle kind of goes down over the course of the spring and summer until we get back to football season.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
That's for Abdul Carter. Hey, son, you want to be a leader? Show up to meetings on time. Don't be late to practice. This guy's sitting there trying to tell me that he's got a problem with Jackson Dart going to a Trump rally when he can't even show up to a meeting on time? And he can't show up to practice and he's late? Dude.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
This is all about headlines, Donnie.
Yep.
If we hear, if that noise gets louder as we get closer, then 45 cents is going to be 65 cents, and that's the repricing we're talking about. I don't need Utah to get him. I need people to think Utah is going to go up and get him, Donnie, and that's how you make money.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Craig Carton along with Tyrone Johnson. We got great news for you. CraigCartonShow.com. And Tyrone, what do you get if you go to that amazing website?
Well, right now you can subscribe to our upcoming newsletter. You put in your email address, and then bang, you'll get all the new Craig Carton Show content when it arrives.
Not just that, you also get merch drops, exclusive content, and appearances. So again, one more time, that website is CraigCartonShow.com.
Madison Square Garden, the place to be tonight. Well, not if you just want to hang out around the Garden and have a watch party. That's not happening tonight. The president in the building. Game 3, Madison Square Garden. First time in a long time, since what, 1999, that the New York Knicks and Madison Square Garden have hosted an NBA Finals game. Could it be another win for the Knicks, one step closer to immortality, cementing themselves as the favorite champion in the history of New York sports? It could happen. But they need to win tonight. If we take a look at the Spurs and the Knicks, so many times, Joe. 4.5-point favorites here for the Spurs, game number 1. 6.5 for game number 2 as a favorite to the Spurs. Now we take a look in the Spurs. They're not even favored now. It's the New York Knicks at -2.5 and a total of 216.5. They're walking in tonight to a literal hornet's nest. These fans are amped up, ready to go, and apparently have a ton of money to spend. Spurs Knicks, game 3. Huge tonight, Joe. What do we see from a spread line?
Yeah, well, this is not far off, Donnie. I mean, this is pretty much what the look ahead was coming in here. It was about 2.5. It just hasn't really moved a whole lot. We can see that an awful lot of tickets and public money on San Antonio because, let's face it, right, they can't get swept. There's no way they can go down 3-0. But just because you have to win doesn't mean you will win, because we had the same conversation on Friday, Donnie, heading into game 2, right? They must win. They have to win. Well, they didn't win, and now they're going to go into one of the most, I don't know, the craziest environment I think that we will have seen in a very long time for a basketball finals game. Should be fun, but there's not a lot of wiggle room. At this point, game 3, Donnie, the markets appear to be locked in. 216.5. I think the total is what we're going to see move before tip. But I think what you see is what you get. Again, just pick the winner. If you think the Knicks win, lay it. If you think the Spurs win, bet them on the money line, Donnie. There's no reason to even involve the spread in this game tonight.
And it's not so simple where you say, hey, Spurs, just got out to a good start in the first quarter. They've been doing that. It's the second half, so they've been drowning at this point, and we'll see if they can make some hay tonight. But that place is going to be on fire. You talk about must-watch TV, that's tonight in Madison Square Garden. Let's flip it over to the WNBA for a little spread line action, Joe. 3 games tonight, 2 games at 7 o'clock and 1 game at 10. Let's focus on the Indiana Fever on the road to take on the Washington Mystics here. Overnight lines, -5.5. It's come down a little bit, Joe. I'm seeing 4.5 to 5.5 now in the marketplace in a total that's listed on the graphic at 169.5, but in the marketplace, anywhere between 169.5 and 170.5. The Fever, if you take a look at them right now, 5-5 on the season. If the season ended today, they'd be the 8th seed, barely making it into the playoffs. You take a look at the Mystics, they're a game back at 4-5. Fever, Mystics in Washington tonight, Joe.
Yeah, I thought the Fever had a shot against the Liberty there over the weekend, but that did not happen because they can't stop fouling. And neither can the Mystics, and that's the problem they've got right now. And the Fever are sitting at, 5-5. The Mystics are at 4-5. So I did not have these two teams being even at this particular point. So at the Fever, at some point, I'm waiting for them to break out. I'm waiting for one of those 95, 100-point games from them. We have not gotten it. And to tell you the truth, Donnie, I don't think we're getting it here tonight either. I tend to think that maybe the under is better way to look at this game with the Mystics offense being a little too inconsistent for my taste.
Elton John once sang a song, Joe, that said what? Don't let the sun go down on me. Oof. Well, Connecticut Sun dead last in the WNBA. They're at home tonight, I guess in the casino, we could say. New York Liberty going to be in town, Joe, 11.5 overnight. See the graphic. We're up to 12.5 now, even 13.5 showing up in the marketplace, a total of 162.5. The Sun, when you have a lame duck franchise, like we're not even going to be here next year, we'll be in Houston. Hard to get behind that team, and apparently the team don't look like they care either, Joe.
Yeah, well, no, Sabrina Ionescu there for the Liberty, and somehow, again, that Fever game was pretty interesting over the weekend, but they were able to navigate it, get it done. Listen, this is a cakewalk for them. 2-10, the Connecticut Sun here. I think the Liberty, even if they play all the backups, will have more than enough with Brianna Stewart and company there to be able to get it done and win likely, Donnie, by double digits or more. So I don't think the Liberty will have a problem tonight.
Jays have won 2 in a row. The Phillies picked up a victory yesterday over the White Sox, playing decent baseball, winners of 7 of their last 10 games. Christopher Sanchez, one of the best pitchers in baseball, on the mound tonight on the road to take on the Toronto Blue Jays, going to counter with their own lefty and Patrick Corbin. And the Phillies took 2 out of 3 from the White Sox here. Didn't get great pitching, but awoke at the plate. We'll see if that stays the same. You take a look at the numbers here, Joe. -178 price on the road team Phillies as the favorite and a total of 7.5. I'll tell you one thing. Hard to bet against Christopher Sanchez right now. It is.
It's been hard to bet against Patrick Corbin, Donnie, because if you had been automatically fading him this year, you're getting crushed. I mean, he's more than capable here. The big thing is you got to get to Toronto's bullpen, but because they have not been very good here. But Corbin's been decent. And listen, I mean, what do you go, 50 2/3 innings without giving up a run? He looks to start that streak all over again. I'm leaning towards an under in this one here, Donnie, tonight. Don't necessarily trust either lineup against these lefties. I think under, and it's low for a reason, too, at 7.5.
Yanks and the Guardians tonight from Cleveland. You got Warren on the mound versus Williams. Williams has been very good so far here, particularly over his last 3 starts for those Guardians. You take a look at the numbers. Roughly a pick 'em, Joe. -112, -104 split, and a total that's listed at 7.5 across the board. The Yankees without Aaron Judge. We'll see if they can hang around, but I guess they can hang around the East because it looks like the Rays can't get out of their own way. So now it's the Yankees and the Guardians tonight. Roughly a pick 'em. No New York tax here, Joe. What gives on a spread line tonight?
Yeah, best thing is just watch every post game with Boone being asked, like, so what are you going to do without Aaron Judge? And just watch his face as he's so sick and tired of having to answer that question. Well, they won yesterday. Warren got a couple extra days rest, given the fact that that rain out there in Game 1 against the Red Sox. That gave him a couple extra days rest here. The Guardians 37-30 have been really good here, Donnie, surprisingly good, in fact. But I think the Yankees can get it done, even though they didn't get it done in the Bronx against the Guardians over the last couple of weeks. I think they get it done here tonight.
8 games on the docket tonight in Major League Baseball here. Having some fun with that. We'll revisit some Major League Baseball in the next segment, which means, is it okay for your arm to continuously throw 100 miles an hour? Come on back. Let's talk about it.
Talk has been about sports betting handle being down or flat, right, because of the threat of prediction markets and the growth of them. But we've seen Kalshi actually kind of plateau for the first time in recent memory. Looking at a graphic right now, we've had the spike for the Super Bowl, and then this is usually when things die down. Yes, there's March Madness, but usually sports betting handle kind of goes down over the course of the spring and summer until we get back to football season.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
For Abdul Carter. Hey, son, you want to be a leader? Show up to meetings on time. Don't be late to practice. This guy's sitting there trying to tell me that he's got a problem with Jackson Dart going to a Trump rally when he can't even show up to a meeting on time and he can't show up to practice and he's late? Dude.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
This is all about headlines, Donnie. If we hear, if that noise gets louder as we get closer, then 45 cents is going to be 65 cents, and that's the repricing we're talking about. I don't need Utah to get him. I need people to think Utah is going to go up and get him, Donnie, and that's how you make money.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Craig Carton along with Tyrone Johnson. We got great news for you. CraigCartonShow.com. And Tyrone, what do you get if you go to that amazing website?
Well, right now you can subscribe to our upcoming newsletter. You put in your email address, and then bang, you'll get all the new Craig Carton Show content when it arrives.
Not just that, you also get merch drops, exclusive content, and appearances. So again, one more time, that website is CraigCartonShow.com.
If you're a Yankees fan, you know what used to be, actually, I still think it happens at the stadium. Nobody beats the whiz, right, Joe? Go out there and get yourself a nice stereo, nice TV, and they do the whistle. Well, Jacob Mizorowski, and sometimes, Joe, the jokes go around. Like, remember Dontrell Willis? Like, yeah, you're going to have to prepay for this guy's Tommy John surgery. And, of course, he's going to have Tommy John surgery. Arms aren't supposed to, Joe, throw repeatedly like a robot 100 miles per hour. But you know who does that? It's Jacob Mizorowski, Codified Baseball, with a tweet. It's June 6th, and Jacob Mizorowski has already thrown 400 pitches at 100-plus miles an hour this season. What?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. You know what he reminds me of, Donnie? And, we forget, but
what's going on?
He reminds me of Nolan Ryan, because that was the whole Nolan Ryan thing for how long, right? When in his heyday, Nolan Ryan was a triple-digit, 100 miles an hour. He'd put it, right under your chin if he wanted. He'd get you all sorts of guessing. I think that if they can keep him healthy, I think this kid is going to be something else. Forget Paul Skeens. I think Miz, provided they can keep him healthy, is going to be virtually unhittable over the next couple of years.
Like, no, Joe, nobody wants to get in the batter's box with a guy that repeatedly throws 100 miles an hour. And sometimes, Joe, right, you can deal with it. It's like, okay, the closer's coming in. He's charged up. This is just what baseball is. The starter's not supposed – you're not supposed to see this guy 3 times in a game and every pitch is 100 miles an hour. That's not right at this point, but this is a next-level pitcher. And if anybody out there goes, well, I can't believe that these Major League Baseball hitters hit 220 and 220. This is why you're not supposed to face guys throwing gas every single pitch. Back in the 80s, you're like, hey, man, this guy's bringing it at 87 miles per hour. Congratulations. Not anymore in Major League Baseball. I'll tell you, the Philadelphia Phillies signed Max Kepler. Hey, how about this? We'll take a flyer on this guy, pay him about $10 million, see what he can provide. He provided nothing but a suspension. But now the Arizona Diamondbacks have picked up a one-year deal while he remains in the midst, Joe, of an 80-game PED suspension. Things aren't working out well for those Diamondbacks, and maybe they move on from Ketel Marte, and maybe they just need some bats. But here you go, a known cheater, Joe, still able to get some work. Good work.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. And I mean, at what point do we realize that I think they've kind of nailed down the whole testing thing here? Like it's you're not as far ahead of the game as you used to be. So can we please stop with that? That would be great, Donnie.
You know what else you could stop with, Joe? When you get big money, you better show up in a big city. I'm telling you, last night, Joe, turned the Major League Baseball game off tonight, last night, scrolled through some things on Twitter. They, talking about Cubs fans, aren't happy with Alex Bregman. 0 for 5 on Sunday. Quote, I haven't executed all year, runners in scoring position. I've been awful. 143 runners left on base by one man, and that man is Alex Bregman.
Well, I mean, right? Admitting you have a problem is the first step into actually rectifying the issue. Although I don't know that it's going to get rectified here, Bregman. So, but you know what? You got what you paid for there, Cubs. So enjoy them.
By the way, Joe, like when you played in your baseball days, didn't you get like second and third one out? Like you're licking your chops at the plate, man. Single through, that's two stakes up the middle. It'll fly ball, drive a guy in. This guy's struggling, man. That's when it's supposed to be high leverage against the pitcher. Get after him here. Not happening. How about those New York Mets? They say that Jorge Polanco experienced ankle soreness on his rehab assignment and will return to New York for further evaluation. It just isn't the Mets year, is it, Joe?
Well, actually, they've done pretty well here. I mean, another win yesterday against the struggling Padres. It wasn't a bad, West Coast road trip, Donnie, at all. If they can weather the storm and, I don't know, get a couple of guys back healthy, they're probably still not going to be any good. But it's a good story anyway for New York.
Joe, I'm not a doctor. I just play it on TV. You have to help me out with this, please. Talking the Yanks with a tweet. Austin Wells is going on the injured list with cervical headaches. J.C. Escara is being called up here for today's game after being sent in after last night's game. What, Joe, what is that? Explain it, please.
I have no idea, Donnie. I don't even know what that means. That feels like that's the kind of thing that's a cover-up for something else, because I've never heard of that, ever.
Man. By the way, and that's Yankees here, so are we going to get an Aaron Boone press conference like, hey, explain this to us where he gets bent out of shape again? Way too many medical ailments on the Yankees that are too hard to explain at this point, and another ailment that's too hard to explain, or maybe a little bit easier. Tyler Glasnow initially expected to miss a minimum amount of time on the injured list with back spasms. A month later, he's moved to the 60-day IL. Joe, torque in the back for a pitcher, and it's sore? Yeah, I don't think we're going to see him anytime soon.
Yeah, which is a shocker because he's been a wealth of health his entire career, Donnie. This should not be a surprise to anybody.
A guy with the name Glasnow getting injured, Joe. They just write themselves the jokes. They do. It's Monday morning on the grid, the early line. We'll be right back.
Talk has been about sports betting handle being down or flat, right, because of the threat of prediction markets and the growth of them. But we've seen Kalshi actually kind of plateau for the first time in recent memory. Looking at a graphic right now, we've had the spike for the Super Bowl, and then this is usually when things die down. Yes, there's March Madness, but usually sports betting handle kind of goes down over the course of the spring and summer until we get back to football season.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
For Abdul Carter. Hey, son, you want to be a leader? Show up to meetings on time. Don't be late to practice. This guy's sitting there trying to tell me that he's got a problem with Jackson Dart going to a Trump rally when he can't even show up to a meeting on time? And he can't show up to practice and he's late? Dude.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
This is all about headlines, Donnie. If we hear, if that noise gets louder as we get closer, then 45 cents is going to be 65 cents, and that's the repricing we're talking about. I don't need Utah to get him. I need people to think Utah is going to go up and get him, Donnie, and that's how you make money.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Craig Carton along with Tyrone Johnson. We got great news for you. CraigCartonShow.com. And Tyrone, what do you get if you go to that amazing website?
Well, right now you can subscribe to our upcoming newsletter. You put in your email address, and then bang, you'll get all the new Craig Carton Show content when it arrives.
Not just that, you also get merch drops, exclusive content, and appearances. So again, one more time, that website is CraigCartonShow.com.
Oh, we got big doings in the NBA. More stuff off the court that we'll get to. And then on the court of what's going to take place tonight in Madison Square. And sad times, though. Chicago Bulls announced here, we are devastated by the passing of three-time NBA champion and beloved broadcaster Stacey King. Born in 1967, passes away in 2026. Never like to see that there, but beloved with the Bulls.
Yeah, I mean, longtime voice, right? Sad news, too, that when we heard that come down over the weekend, Donnie, it's, 59 years old? Just awful news there for the Bulls family. You just don't.
You just don't know there. I'll tell you what you do know in Philadelphia. Daryl Morey had to go at this point because you can't give out these ridiculous contracts. I don't care how well you draft or if you're a genius here, you got to go. But now look at this. Gansey comes into town to run the show from Cleveland. And how about this? Jameer Nelson promoted to the Sixers' #2 executive. Elton Brand taking a new role. By the way, I never knew what Elton Brand even did in Philadelphia. Must be a nice paycheck there. But how about this? Local legend, St. Joseph legend, Jameer Nelson in the building as the #2, Joe.
Former player, too, I think, for him there. The #2 in the building. Yeah, they reassigned Elton Brand, apparently very well respected in the GM ranks there. But he's apparently going to go to the corporate office now and oversee more than just basketball.
Here's my favorite part, Joe. You ever see the meme where, like, the old guy has the flannel shirt on and the family gives him the same flannel shirt and he's holding it side by side? Let's go to Yahoo Sports in this tweet here. How about this? The Timberwolves unveiled a franchise rebrand featuring new logos, color schemes, uniforms, and court designs. And they ask, what do you think about this new look? So if we post a new look, I don't know. Looks like the old look to me, Joe. What's new here?
There is nothing new there. Kind of looks exactly the same, Donnie. Unless that's one of those Mandela effects, right? I don't know. I'm really not sure how that changes anything, Donnie. It's pretty much the same thing.
Unbelievable stuff. And by the way, you know what else is unbelievable? We're the only network here, Joe, and maybe host that tell you, the ratings are unbelievable. And we tell you, look, calm it down. New ratings started in September. Everything is up here, and nobody puts context on anything. Am I saying we're not enjoying the NHL and ratings should be high because the series is great? No, ratings should be high, and that's what it is. They're still inflated. Same thing with the NBA. Fantastic. We want to watch Wemby. We want to watch the New York Knicks. We want the series to go long. Ratings should be good. Are they inflated? Absolutely. But how about this from ESPN PR? This past Wednesday's matchup between the Spurs and Knicks, the most watched NBA Finals game since 2018. 16.93 million average viewers, up 90% year over year. We are spiking. You'll get a general look next year when the NBA Finals is in again and have that year over year to see what it is. Not saying it's not good. Not saying we're not watching because we like the playoffs here, Joe, but somebody please, at least from major networks, put context on it. That's all we ask for.
That's not going to happen, Donnie, in any way, shape, or form. They're just going to keep raising they're going to lower the bar and raise the ratings is what they're going to do. It's just going to be as long as somebody can actually just sit on the scroll for more than a second, then yes, it's going to be a viewer and the numbers are going to be astronomical. And that is going to continue now for the next couple of years.
Like, Joe, are there going to be pieces like next year that go, I don't know what happened to ratings in sports, but nobody's watching anymore without, again, any context, because the one thing we do know, nothing continuously goes up. Like, we get that the NFL is going to be popular and more people might watch year to year, and hey, they're up 3 to 4%, and that's fine. But we don't just see jumps of 50, 60, 70, 80, 90% as if it's like, wow, I never knew the NBA existed. I never knew hockey existed. Baseball, never tuned in until this year. I want to see those think pieces, Joe, next year. Goes, NBA's in a tough spot. Ratings didn't go up this year. Like, are they going to do the same thing there?
It's same thing. They're just going to keep moving the goalposts. You know that. They're going to redo the system. They're going to make some sort of tweak. They're going to recalibrate. They're going to readjust. No matter what, the advertisers who are now forking over 10x the amount of cost to advertise in these games, they guarantee they'll figure out a way to make sure that the numbers are through the roof for the foreseeable future.
You want ratings, Joe. You came to the right place tonight because it is Game 3. It is Madison Square Garden. Now, from a fan's perspective, I don't really care about the Knicks. I actually don't want them to win because I'm a Sixers fan. Spurs, I just want to see a long series. I would have loved it, Joe, if they came back to the Garden 1-1, a little bit more intrigue. But that place is going to be on fire. The Knicks don't want this to go back to San Antonio, and we get that. But Donald Trump's going to be in the building tonight, which makes this so much more fun to watch because you know he's going to be shown what the expectations are going to be set from the crowd and also security to get in. And if anybody's ever been to an event with the president in town, it's hard to get to the games because some of the roads are shut down. But Madison Square Garden is used to this. If there's one arena, Joe, that can handle the president in the building for an event, it's Madison Square Garden. It's what they do. But I know the fans are upset, like, hey, you can't have the watch parties outside, a little bit more security. But here's what I want to see, Joe, because you know as well as I do, the national media is going to be on this one. Now, hear me out on this. I'm pretty sure if Donald Trump goes to Rucker Park and he's like, okay, I'm going to sit courtside, he's going to hear it. Why? Because that's the common New York folk that will be in the building at Rucker Park and are paying $8,000 to sit in the worst seat in the building. I'm interested to see the response that Donald Trump's going to get at Madison Square Garden because the tax bracket isn't your average New Yorker that's going to be in the building tonight, Joe.
No, it's not. And let's be honest here. You probably would rather this happen in Game 3 than in Game 4 where the Knicks have a chance of actually closing them out. Then you can come back and have your watch parties and everything else. I'm still trying to figure out why the NBA or the NHL, for that matter, did not have a game last night, Donnie, on a Sunday night.
You're right.
I do not have a clue as to why they waited till tonight for this.
We're going to watch this tonight, Joe, but hear me out on this. 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. tip time last night for the NBA. You own the night, and which I don't know. It's just, but no, again, Joe, they don't like to make money for some apparent reason, and that's true. Let's go to the videotape, as we like to say, Joe. It's Karl Anthony Towns talking about Trump.
Someone who grew up in the area, just wonder if you have any thoughts about the first president to ever come to a finals game being at the finals game tomorrow.
I mean, we got to be desperate for this fans. You know, the fans have earned the right and deserve the right to see finals basketball be played here at Madison Square Garden. And for this to be the first game in a long time that they've seen finals basketball, it's up to us to bring it. Give them something to cheer for, give them something to get loud for, and also give them something to believe in. I talked about the word hope. Hope has been brought back to the city. We've revitalized that word, but the word success hasn't been seen in the city for a long time. So we have to continue to fight to bring that word back to fruition.
What do you think, Joe, about Trump in the building? It's up to us. Let's bring that passion tonight. That was the answer we got. Look, as an athlete, probably a smart decision to make that because no matter what you said, you probably would lose a lot, win a little bit, lose whatever, right?
I've been a Knick fan for the beginning, way before most Knick fans here, Donnie. Yeah. So I was going to see the game. Let them come see who cares. What would move on. The bottom line is you got to win this game here, Knicks. You got to win this game. Don't take your foot off the gas. And he knows it, Kat. But they're going to have to answer a lot of those questions heading into the game tonight and, of course, in the post-press conference as well.
Let me tell you something, Joe. Talking about the Knicks, who were favored tonight to win this game after being heavy underdogs in the first two. I don't know if San Antonio is even going to have a chance in game number 4. It's like escaping New York with a victory in game number 4. I don't think it's even going to be possible. Now, you know me, I like to be a contrarian better and probably will take the Spurs if they lose in game number 3 and game number 4 because nobody's going to take them. But I got to tell you, Joe, that game 4 and the energy around that arena, the shame of it is, too, the Knicks will take it anyway, right? But sometimes when you're a new fan, you want your first to be like pins and needles. Like for me, Joe, being an Eagles fan, to beat the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl in an unbelievable, crazy back and forth game here, it felt so good. And yes, it felt good to hammer the Kansas City Chiefs, where it was an easy blowout. But sometimes I feel like it would be cooler for the Knicks fans to win it in 6 in a close game, like that whole struggle. But heck, they'll take it any way they can get it here. More talk coming up next right here on The Grid.
Talk has been about sports betting handle being down or flat, right, because of the threat of prediction markets and the growth of them. But we've seen Kalshi actually kind of plateau for the first time in recent memory. Looking at a graphic right now, we've had the spike for the Super Bowl, and then this is usually when things die down. Yes, there's March Madness, but usually sports betting handle kind of goes down over the course of the spring and summer until we get back to football season.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
For Abdul Carter. Hey, son, you want to be a leader? Show up to meetings on time. Don't be late to practice. This guy's sitting there trying to tell me that he's got a problem with Jackson Dart going to a Trump rally when he can't even show up to a meeting on time and he can't show up to practice and he's late? Dude.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
This is all about headlines, Donnie. If we hear, if that noise gets louder as we get closer, then 45 cents is going to be 65 cents, and that's the repricing we're talking about. I don't need Utah to get them. I need people to think Utah is going to go up and get them, Donnie, and that's how you make money.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Craig Carton along with Tyrone Johnson. We got great news for you. CraigCartonShow.com. And Tyrone, what do you get if you go to that amazing website?
Well, right now you can subscribe to our upcoming newsletter. You put in your email address, and then bang, you'll get all the new Craig Carton Show content when it arrives.
Not just that, you also get merch drops, exclusive content, and appearances. So again, one more time, that website is CraigCartonShow.com.
It's a Monday here right on the SportsGrid Network. It's the early line, rising and grinding with us. New week, new money, as we like to say. And hopefully we get some extended series here in the NHL and also in the NBA. It's your boy Donnie writes out along with Joe Neer. We welcome in Tom Vecchio on a Monday morning to heat things up. Tom, how was your weekend? How are we feeling today?
I'm doing great. Yeah, like you said, we want to see these series go 6 or 7 games, bring us the best drama. Also, just give us more games to bet on overall. We don't want to see them turn to 4 or 5 game series, but nonetheless, I'm ready to roll.
World Cup on the horizon as well. Tom starts this Thursday. But before we get there, Madison Square Garden, New York City, the epicenter of basketball. And tonight, you see the New York Knicks as a favorite. How about that? -2.5 at most outlets here, Tom, and a total of 216.5. Entertaining games in 1 and 2. Both went to the Knicks on the road against the Spurs. Now the pressure actually on the Knicks to perform in front of this rabid home audience tonight. What do we think happens tonight with the Spurs and the Knicks?
A lot of mixed feelings about this one. The Knicks are 5.5, 6.5 point road underdogs. They're not just covering those games, they're winning outright, and they're only 2.5 at home tonight. A part of me thinks that's a little bit light. And another part of me wants to say, well, just take the road team because the road team's been covering. Take the under because we've seen a lot of lower score. Like, there's so many things going on. Ultimately, I think one of the best spots would be a Knicks in-game live number. If they fall down by 10, as they seemingly do, they're not only live to come back and cover whatever that number is, they're live to win. So I don't mind taking the Spurs at 2.5 just because it's a road team. They have to bounce back. But if the Knicks fall down and you're giving me 5.5 or 6 in-game, I'm going to be looking to take that.
Yeah. We keep waiting for both teams have room to grow here, it feels like, Tom. Both teams can play better, certainly offensively. But you're asking a very young team to go into one of the craziest venues that we will likely ever see in Madison Square Garden here tonight. What are the chances this thing does go over here tonight?
I wouldn't be surprised just because we are going to see some offensive positive regression from both teams, just a little bit better three-point shooting. You would like to think just because of how bad they've been, at least through certain stretches. But for me, for the Spurs, I've always thought, especially with their makeup and a lot of their depth players, Wemby can't do it all. It's got to be like a real all-hands-on-deck type of situation where everyone has to be knocking down enough shots where they don't have to turn to Wemby to make a game-winning shot. So a little more from De'Aaron Fox, who's kind of been up and down really this entire series and a lot throughout the playoffs. A little more scoring from everyone, and that's where the Spurs will be live. And the same thing with the Knicks. Like, we saw Miles Bridges have a great game. He's knocking down a ton of threes. That's not sustainable, but everyone needs to chip in. Jose Alvarado coming off the bench is a steal machine. If you can get some type of steal prop on him, he's going to come away with one.
Let me ask you a question on this too, Tom, because we love when the market moves. Entering into this series, sure, the favorite was the San Antonio Spurs, which meant Wembanyama was supposed to be the MVP and be the MVP favorite. Close behind, obviously the Knicks is an underdog, it was going to be Jalen Brunson. I look at the futures market right now, and look who's right on Brunson's tail. It's Karl Anthony Towns. So let me ask you this question. Brunson's still the slight favorite. Let's call it plus 115, and Karl Anthony Towns 165 if the Knicks do win. Brunson's statistics here, even though he dropped a lot of points in game number one, hasn't been all that efficient. Karl Anthony Towns has been really good. Is there a chance that this award just goes to Brunson as almost like that, yeah, you're our guy, our A1, and it was close, we'll give you the nod? Or does Karl Anthony Towns have a legitimate chance to steal this if the Knicks win?
He has a legitimate chance to steal it, and it comes down to the production that he limits from Wemby. Because it's not just about Karl Anthony Towns dropping 20 and 10, 25 and whatever it is. If he limits Wemby and shuts him down, they're going to say, okay, Brunson's been amazing. But now we have a player who's doing his part on offense and eliminating the best option on offense for the opposing team. That is a real argument to be made.
Going to be interesting here. Cat, you mentioned now all of a sudden playing out of his mind. The bench, though, to your point, of San Antonio, where are they here? And because if it ain't Wemby, who's it got to be here? Harper? Like, who is the guy we should concentrate on the San Antonio bench has got to show up?
To me, it can't just be one player. It's got to be a little bit of Castle. It's got to be a little bit of Harper. Champagny has been knocking down threes, as we saw to close out the Thunder series. Like, it has to be all of them doing that part. So, some of those numbers I think are okay, but to me, it just might be a hot hand thing. If they get rolling in the first quarter, a live player prop, we know some of those numbers can be a little bit inflated, but they have to turn to someone outside of Wemby. Like the pick and roll that they're doing with Fox, they have to have that third option that they can pass to.
Tom, let's take a look at the NHL because we got two series right now, the NBA Finals and the NHL Finals. Ratings are high. The NHL has just hit the gas pedal in the first three games. Now, I know there's no game tonight, but there will be a game number 4 tomorrow out there in Vegas. And you take a look at some of the early numbers. Slight favorite for Carolina, total listed at 5.5. The first three games, back and forth, unbelievable hockey, overtimes, and so much more. How do we see this playing out? And also, VGK barely gets into the playoffs playing this well. It's like, how did this happen?
Well, sometimes you just got to be hot at the right time. A coaching change at the end of the season for Vegas, certainly coming to fruition at this point. I want to say it's the Stanley Cup. These teams want to, get things under control and play in under at 5.5. But when we're seeing 7, 8, 9 goals in some of these games, there's no way I could possibly sweat out and under 5.5. Even looking at some of the alt numbers for under 6.5, and you're looking at -150, -160, can't possibly be taking that. I can say a live over just because if it drops to 3.5, we know that the scoring is going to come at some point. But my goodness, the scoring that we have seen back and forth has been phenomenal. As I said coming into this, I liked Vegas +1.5 on the series, which is certainly looking good right now. But there is no way that we can reasonably bet Carolina as a favorite at any point this time. I'm going to take the better odds with either team in every game going forward because it's been this much of a coin flip.
Great stuff across the board as we talk a little NHL action, a little NBA action. But tonight, Tom, what do we have here? Looks like 3, 6, 8 total games in Major League Baseball. Scope anything out on the board yet tonight in Major League Baseball?
Yeah, Grayson Rodriguez is pitching for the Angels. He's absolutely terrible. Chris Sanchez is pitching for your Phillies, Donnie. He's absolutely phenomenal. And it's going to come down to which offense we can see from the Blue Jays or the Phillies, who's going to come through. Because, man, if the Blue Jays can't score against Chris Sanchez, it could be a shutout.
Could be a shutout here tonight. Good stuff as well. I know Tom is a big Yankees fan here. Aaron Judge down at least 4 to 6 weeks, which opens the door on that AL MVP. Tom, thanks for rising and grinding with us early on a Monday morning, getting your week starting in style. And we'll talk to you again soon. For Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri, we will be back after this short break right here on the SportsGrid Network.
Talk has been about sports betting handle being down or flat, right, because of the threat of prediction markets and the growth of them. But we've seen Kalshi actually kind of plateau for the first time in recent memory. Looking at a graphic right now, we've had the spike for the Super Bowl, and then this is usually when things die down. Yes, there's March Madness, but usually sports betting handle kind of goes down over the course of spring and summer until we get back to football season.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
For Abdul Carter. Hey, son, you want to be a leader? Show up to meetings on time. Don't be late to practice. This guy's sitting there trying to tell me that he's got a problem with Jackson Dart going to a Trump rally when he can't even show up to a meeting on time and he can't show up to practice and he's late? Dude.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
This is all about headlines, Donnie. If we hear, if that noise gets louder as we get closer, then 45 cents is going to be 65 cents, and that's the repricing we're talking about. I don't need Utah to get them. I need people to think Utah is going to go up and get them, Donnie, and that's how you make money.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Craig Carton along with Tyrone Johnson. We got great news for you. CraigCartonShow.com. And Tyrone, what do you get if you go to that amazing website?
Well, right now you can subscribe to our upcoming newsletter. You put in your email address, and then bang, you'll get all the new Craig Carton Show content when it arrives.
Not just that, you also get merch drops, exclusive content, and appearances. So again, one more time, that website is CraigCartonShow.com.
Talk a little NFL action. How about this, Joe? Like, we got the NBA tonight. Can't wait to watch game number 3. We got the NHL tomorrow night. You got the World Cup starting up on Thursday, and that's going to be a lot of stuff to watch. But also, when you take a look at the NFL, if you haven't been watching, Myles Garrett's now in Los Angeles. Myles Garrett is an absolute beast. Here's Myles Garrett throwing at the opening pitch for the Dodgers game. How about this? Let's see.
All right, Myles, welcome to L.A. The mound is yours.
Let's see how this goes.
It's not going to go well. Not.
Ooh.
Oh,
Joe.
Right. Go.
Nice
Dash.
Once again, welcome, Myles, to Los Angeles.
What can the man not do, Joe? I mean, the guy's a sack artist, and it looks like he might be able to go throw the 7th inning for the Los Angeles Dodgers, no?
Yeah, I was going to say, even the guy catching the ball was like, wow, all right. And yeah, it was totally getting ready to jump up and like have to, get one hopped and take one off the ankle. But no, very good, Miles. Very impressive. And it's a second career for him, I think, as soon as this one is over in the NFL.
And Joe, how about this one from Front Office Sports? You got to like this because, and I'm always a big proponent, like put things in the terms of how you would understand it with the people. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. If they move from Philadelphia to Chester County, Delaware County, or to New Jersey and South Jersey, let's just say Camden, it wouldn't affect my fandom one bit. I always love this. If the Bears leave Chicago, I'll never cheer for them again. You know who the people cheered for the New York Giants when they were at Yankee Stadium? Were the fans going like, you leave this state and this city here, we'll never talk again. No, they love the Giants.
No.
The Jets. You leave Shea Stadium and you pull it out of here on that. No, they left and you watch the Jets, even though they stink at this point. Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. I now turn my back on you because we move a state away. No, you don't. Bears fans, you will buy tickets, you will drive there, you will watch, because that's the way the world works. All of this nonsense. And understand this too, Joe, on the move. Put it in terms people can understand. Joe, you live in Florida. And you say, you know what, Donnie? I can sell my house for, let's just say, $1 million right now. And people go, oh, Joe, but you make a lot of money, so you should sell it for $500,000. What, you think the Bears are going to take a worse deal instead of moving 20 miles and putting billions in their pocket? What world do we live in where the Bears are supposed to stay in Chicago because they already make enough money and that's good enough? What world do we live in, Joe?
Listen, I mean, what, because of tradition? Well, that's not going to pay the bills, is it? So if you're going to get the opportunity to go get brand new everything,
yes,
and still know that the fan base is coming your way, they rolled out the red carpet, Indiana, did they not? So and more importantly, they opened up the checkbook, which is really what this was all about.
Yeah, again, let's take it to the next level as well. If those Boston Patriots move out of the Sea of Boston, we'll never cheer for them again. Did you cheer for all those Tom Brady Super Bowls when they were miles and hours away from Boston? Or how about this? The 49er faithful, they moved this out of Kansas, or out of Candlestick Park in San Francisco. I'll never watch them again. They're damn near a whole state away, it feels like, down there in the San Jose area. Stop the madness. You'll watch, and you know you'll watch. And by the way, Joe, let's hear from the fans of the Bears.
I'm from Indiana. I think it's a good move.
You like it?
I like it.
What do you have to say?
Come on into Indiana and go Bears.
The Bears have been a staple hole. We have them for Soldier Field. We have them for all of the landmarks. They're the monster of the Midway. We're moving the Midway outside of the city. That hurts my soul. They're downbred to Chicago. They're downbred to the life and to the humanity of the city. To move them out of this way, so we're taking the heart out of the city.
End of an era at Soldier Field, but it'll be good for them to have more capacity, I guess, clear up the traffic downtown. But I don't know, Soldier Field's iconic with the Bears, so it'll be sad to see them go.
Northwest Indiana people, the region people have always been Bears fans, so it's a natural place for us.
Joe, I understand the fan sentimental value and all that, but also let's go back to 2003, where the Bears royally messed up. They were a monster market with one football team, and they built the smallest stadium in the NFL. They could have done whatever they wanted because they played that year in Champaign, I think, where they redid it. They could have built a dome. They could have built added 20,000 more seats. Joe, it looks brand spanking new, and they're telling you, oh, we got to need a new facility now. Unbelievable.
Yeah, no, and listen, Donnie, it doesn't hurt to ask, right? Because there might be somebody crazy enough to actually give you exactly what you want, and that's exactly what happened. Don't blame them. Hate the game, don't hate the player.
Like, you're going to make hundreds of millions of dollars more a year if you move 20 miles south. And the fans are like, that's not fair. Stay here and lose money in Chicago. What world again do we live in? It's crazy town. Hour number 2 is coming up next. More hot topics? Yep, they're on the way.
Talk has been about sports betting handle being down or flat, right, because of the threat of prediction markets and the growth of them. But we've seen Kalshi actually kind of plateau for the first time in recent memory. Looking at a graphic right now, we've had the spike for the Super Bowl, and then this is usually when things die down. Yes, there's March Madness, but usually sports betting handle kind of goes down over the course of the spring and summer until we get back to football season.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
That's for Abdul Carter. Hey, son, you want to be a leader? Show up to meetings on time. Don't be late to practice. This guy's sitting there trying to tell me that he's got a problem with Jackson Dart going to a Trump rally when he can't even show up to a meeting on time? And he can't show up to practice and he's late? Dude.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
This is all about headlines, Donnie.
Yep.
If we hear, if that noise gets louder as we get closer, then 45 cents is going to be 65 cents, and that's the repricing we're talking about. I don't need Utah to get him. I need people to think Utah is going to go up and get him, Donnie, and that's how you make money.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Craig Carton along with Tyrone Johnson. We got great news for you. CraigCartonShow.com. And Tyrone, what do you get if you go to that amazing website?
Well, right now you can subscribe to our upcoming newsletter. You put in your email address, and then bang, you'll get all the new Craig Carton Show content when it arrives.
Not just that, you also get merch drops, exclusive content, and appearances. So again, one more time, that website is CraigCartonShow.com.
Hour number 2 on the grid. It starts up now. It's a Monday. New week, new money, as we like to say, and interesting topics all the way through. And again, watching tonight's Game 3 in the NBA Finals between the Spurs and the New York Knicks. Trump in the house, in the building, a crazy crowd. I also want to see, Joe, what that final get-in price tonight will be. Does it actually go up, which I can't believe? Does it come crashing down when people start to panic on, like, I got tickets I listed for $8,000 in the nosebleeds, and now nobody's going to buy them. That'll sit empty. I want to see what happens there. You know what else I want to see? Starting tomorrow in the NHL. Can we get a 2-2 series? Can we go 7 games to give the people what they want? But more importantly, Joe, on a worldwide stage, Thursday, game number 1 of the World Cup. It's our job to get you ready. And, Joe, we will do that here in hour number 2.
Yeah, I mean, listen, big week here, Donnie, and it starts tonight, certainly in the NBA, where the season and championship will be on the line. Same thing in Vegas tomorrow night in the NHL. And then, of course, we get to watch Team USA play soccer. And who knew they even had a team, Donnie?
Who knew they even had a team? And by the way, celebrations because they played a friendly over the weekend in Chicago where it's like, yeah, man, they lost 2-1. That's awesome. That's how far below we are on the national stage here of world soccer. It's like, hey, they played well and lost. Stop it. When one day we're going to wake up and be like, hey, the U.S. is a superpower in soccer. Why are women a superpower in soccer out here? The men absolutely stink. Well, we'll cheer them on.
Was it really in Chicago or was it in Indiana?
How many more people do you know that could have gotten the building and had a much better experience if they were down in Hammond, Indiana? That's what we're going to be talking about. But also, Joe, a lot of that is based on how much money the Chicago Bears can make from moving to Chicago proper down to another state in Hammond, Indiana. But in the NFL, contracts always go higher. And if you're next in line, you're going to ring that cashier. Baker Mayfield is seeking a contract, Joe, worth $65 million a year. Before I get your info on that, let's actually hear from Baker if this is true right now.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, regardless, we've built roots here in Tampa. We love the community. We love being here. They've embraced us, and we enjoy being here. And obviously, going to raise kids here. But yeah, contract stuff it's happening. It's starting the talks and whatnot, but not anywhere close to what we were thinking. So. Would love to be here long term, and as of right now, that's not exactly the case. But I'm under contract for 2026, and the guys in that locker room, the staff know that I'm still going to be me. I'm still going to do everything I can to help this team win a Super Bowl, and that's, to me, that's the priority. Everything else will take care of itself. Obviously, yes, I would love to have a long-term deal done, but They know my deadline is as soon as training camp starts. We're not doing any contract stuff. It's all ball. So it's not up to me when that gets done by. But so hopefully before that. If not, then still gonna have a good year.
By the way, Joe, biggest fallacy in sports is always like once training camp starts, we're not going to negotiate. Oh, if they give you exactly what you want a day later, you're not going to accept that contract. Stop it. But also understand this, Joe. He's got to cash in. He's made a lot of money, but some people around him squandered a lot of his money on bad investments and took it from him. So my man's trying to cash in. I can't be mad.
Listen, I mean, and you can hear the level of frustration in his voice here too, Donnie, which is never good going into a season. But somehow this is not a new story. Somehow or another, usually these things with your starting quarterback work themselves out before the season starts.
It will. They'll pay him, and also you can't pay him that much. You wait. He signs for $65 million. The next year, somebody signs for $70. The price of the brick is always going up in the NFL every year. And he used to be like, man, you can't pay that quarterback $30 million. Dudes, 70, 80, 90, 100. It's on its way, people. Trust me on that. But let's get to the hottest topics here across the sports landscape with the early lineup, which deals with the French Open and Alexander Zverev. Who would have thought he would have won this tournament just a few weeks ago when usually it's going to be Alcaraz going up and facing, other superstar tennis players, getting involved there. No, these are first-time winners, Joe. Sometimes you like to see it here. Zverev with his first major championship at the French.
Listen, he was bound to happen sooner or later, but it took, it took Alcaraz getting hurt, Sinner, passing out from heat stroke, and voila, you've got your Grand Slam. Sometimes I'd rather be lucky than good, Donnie.
By the way, too, Joe, like sometimes you follow it's like, hey, man, Djokovic and, Alcaraz having an unbelievable match. Make sure you turn this on. And I'm not a tennis guy, but if I'm around, I might flip it on. Like, hey, let me just see some history go down and some great play. I didn't see much social media hype because also Mira Andreeva, women's side of things, a teenager, she wins her first title. And it's like, okay, maybe they had a good tennis match, but usually the names drive the sport, Joe. It is nice to see two people actually got their first wins there because the superstars were out of the competition. It's usually not good for ratings, but Joe, in this rating sphere, it's probably the most watched French Open in the history of the world because that's what they do now.
That's all they do, Donnie. But hey, kudos to a 19-year-old. Could be the next, big thing in the tennis world here because all the other big name on the women's side certainly did not make it to the French Open final. So somebody had to win, and she did a great job too. So maybe this is the next, Serena type of situation here.
Christian Eriksen, Joe, scary moment, falls unconscious. By the way, in athletics, I've, had a lot of 95-degree triples days in the August heat. I never went unconscious there, but you know what I did go unconscious, Joe? I got a health insurance policy where they pulled maybe, I don't know, a tiny bit of blood out of me, and I passed out. That's the only time I've ever passed out, Joe. Any passing out for you, Joe, in the sporting realm?
No, knocked out, but not where I just was sitting there and passed out. Yeah, I got hit under the chin a couple of times in football, Donnie, where it was, good night. That was the end of that.
And by the way, when Joe back in the day got hit there, they go, Joe, how many fingers? Oh, he's actually talking. Get him back in the game right away, and away you go with your life at this point. The UFC, Joe. Are they getting in trouble here promoting on the White House grounds for the 250 celebration this week? And a couple people, I think, what is it, Virginia? They're like, no, I don't want to see this. Help, Judge, help.
I don't know. We get okay. Let's just sue. We don't like something. Everyone gets sued here. Can we just get it going in the celebration? Let's see. I mean, it's historic on so many different levels that we're actually going to get a UFC match, a whole card there on the White House lawn. I think is pretty crazy.
And by the way, remember last week we were looking at those predictive markets, Trump not to go or to go, and we messed up the dates there. It's like, hey, I'm in the house right now. I can't walk out to the backyard and watch this thing. We'll see. It'll be a lot of pomp and circumstance. We'll see if it actually delivers. Nelly Korda, she's been delivering on the LPGA Tour, Joe, coming down to the last hole, picking up another big victory here in the U.S. Open.
Yeah, kudos to her. I mean, she finally gets, I think, the U.S. Open here, and what a putt to do it, which I'm sure that'll be her screensaver for a very, very long time when she made that putt to get it done at Riviera. So kudos to her.
My favorite story of the day, Joe, is Connor McDavid winning his 5th Ted Lindsay Award, who I don't even know who Ted Lindsay is, but it's the players voting on their own MVP. So how many MVPs do we get in the NHL? And also just a terrible name for an award for – who did Ted Lindsay even play? Is he a real guy? Is he fictitious? Who is this guy?
Oh, that's just one of those
Who did he play
honorary
for?
things. I think he invented it. He invented the award. I have no idea. But the reality is not a shock that the word, and the MVP and Connor McDavid are in the same breath, Donnie, is not a shock.
Now, Joe, we did see a little Monaco action. The superstars, the rich and famous showing up there. Who is it? Lewis Hamilton and his girlfriend or fiance or whatever it is now. Another Kim. How about this? Kim actually won. Kimi Antonelli wins the Monaco Grand Prix. 5 wins in a 5 wins. He's 19. He's got a 5-game streak, Joe.
You got to love it. Yes, you got to love it. But the real winner was Kim Kardashian. So that was the one I got. I saw more pictures of Kim Kardashian in Monaco than I saw of any racing. No racing, all Kardashian.
She was stiff-arming, Joe. People trying to ask her questions there on the telecast, which people were not too, happy about. But understand this, Joe. You can't really drive in the United States with is it 17 or 18 to get your license? How's this guy 19 driving F1 with a 5-game race streak here at this point? Wild times. Kevin Walsh joins us next. Let's get going. Go New York, go New York, go.
Talk has been about sports betting handle being down or flat, right, because of the threat of prediction markets and the growth of them. But we've seen Kalshi actually kind of plateau for the first time in recent memory. Looking at a graphic right now, we've had the spike for the Super Bowl, and then this is usually when things die down. Yes, there's March Madness, but usually sports betting handle kind of goes down over the course of the spring and summer until we get back to football season.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
For Abdul Carter. Hey, son, you want to be a leader? Show up to meetings on time. Don't be late to practice. This guy's sitting there trying to tell me that he's got a problem with Jackson Dart going to a Trump rally when he can't even show up to a meeting on time? And he can't show up to practice and he's late? Dude.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
This is all about headlines, Donnie. If we hear, if that noise gets louder as we get closer, then 45 cents is going to be 65 cents, and that's the repricing we're talking about. I don't need Utah to get him. I need people to think Utah is going to go up and get him, Donnie, and that's how you make money.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Craig Carton along with Tyrone Johnson. We got great news for you. CraigCartonShow.com. And Tyrone, what do you get if you go to that amazing website?
Well, right now you can subscribe to our upcoming newsletter. You put in your email address, and then bang, you'll get all the new Craig Carton Show content when it arrives.
Not just that, you also get merch drops, exclusive content, and appearances. So again, one more time, that website is CraigCartonShow.com.
Oh, it's a Monday Fun Day right here on the SportsGrid Network. The early line, big-time action tonight. Famous people in the building. And also that superstar row down there courtside. I'm interested to see who's going to be there. I don't think Trump's going to sit courtside. He'll probably be up somewhere in the, maybe on the Chase Bridge with his boy James Dolan. We'll find out tonight. But you want to talk ratings? Tonight, you're going to get those ratings here. Now, the NBA, which guys, I don't want to enjoy in the regular season. I like the NBA playoffs. I can't wait for tonight's game. But also, I don't want this to be a Knicks victory tonight. I don't want the Knicks to win in 4. Not because I don't like the Knicks here. It's just because I just want to see more basketball to carry us out. It's DRS, it's Joe Ranier, and let's welcome in Kevin Walsh. As a fan of the game that you are, and you do NBA shows and basketball shows on the network, it's going to be a big story if the Knicks win in 4. Yes, it's going to be an unbelievable parade. I can't have that. If the Knicks are going to win, Kevin, at least give me Knicks in 6, no?
I thought it would be Knicks in 6. In the moment, it feels more Knicks in 5 than Knicks in 6. I mean, if you think back to when the Knicks stunned Boston a postseason ago, that series pattern was 2 close, gutty wins in Boston, drop game 3 back at home, have everybody go, uh-oh, if the Knicks lose game 4, this series is up. And then the Knicks won game 4. Game 5, they actually got smoked back in Boston, and then they closed the series out in 6 at home. So I think that is still on the board, absolutely. As somebody who played the Knicks plus a game and a half, and then minus a game and a half, and minus 2.5, if they want to get this done in 4, I'm not really going to complain. But I've felt that this was a Spurs spot pretty much since game number 2 came to a close here. This feels like San Antonio finally gets theirs, probably with their best offensive showing so far in this series.
I mean, we're leaning an over here, Kev, because both teams can certainly play better offensively than what we've gotten to this point. So is this the game where we finally get an offensive back and forth?
So interesting, Joe. I know you're well aware because I remember you were on the total in game 2, and the number just kept climbing. Like, very clearly, they, to bettors, over-adjusted from game 1 to game 2 towards the under, and they had to move that thing back up. They've adjusted down a bit, not as much. I tend to think this is an over game, but I think I find myself deciding more so between the Spurs straight or a Spurs team total over. And it's not that the Knicks can't score 120, right? Or anything. I think it's just I've been thinking Spurs the whole way. But do I actually want to bet against this team at home on this streak? The old DRS team total style, right? Spurs score 110, you turn the game off. I'm not going to turn the game off, but you kind of get what I'm saying here. So that's what I'm sure, thinking through this morning here on game 3.
Yeah, and I love atmospheres. Like, part of sports is, I can't wait to see how rabid or crazy that fan base is going to be tonight, and everything that circumstantial goes around it. We had a video that we played from Karl Anthony Towns saying, hey, it's up to us to bring that energy early. And if they do, it's going to crescendo. It's going to get louder and louder. And all of a sudden, you can taste a world championship for the first time since 1973. We had Tom Vecchio on a little bit earlier here, Kevin, and I asked him a couple of the same questions. First one I want to start with you is, it's an 0-2 series here for the Spurs. They're not coming back home. It's like, okay, let's even the playing field. Let's get a win on game 3 on our home court and see from here. You're in New York, Madison Square Garden. You're now the underdog when you were the prohibitive favorite in the first 2 games. Kevin, I look at the championship odds to win this series. The Knicks, minus 500. The Spurs, plus 385. I'm not asking you to say, I'll take minus 500 on the Knicks. They're up 2-0. But is there a chance that you can get back in with the Spurs where they can make this a series and maybe even push it 6? Because right now I'm looking saying, I don't know if I believe in it. And then again, it's still a young team on the road in a hornet's nest tonight, Kevin.
Yeah, I don't think the Spurs to win the title prices are all that tempting because history tells us they've lost the title already. They became the 3rd team to go down 2-0 with home court advantage in the finals. And those, prior teams did not win the series, obviously. That's just, it's just how it goes. So I think it was Charles Barkley in Phoenix against MJ, and I think Shaq's Magic, up against, I believe, what would have been Hakeem. So probably in tight order. Teams don't really go down 2-0 at home in a finals, but it's the spot that they've found themselves in here. I think to complete that comeback, you would want to chase bigger outcomes. But again, I would almost, Donnie, rather bet Spurs in 6 if you were going to make me bet a Spurs, positive outcome. But I'm not all too interested in that. Like, I think the Knicks in 5, Donnie, is probably a more tempting bet based on the live series options right now. I'll tell you the other thing, though, that's still wrong, in my opinion, is the pricing of the finals MVP stuff. Like, I understand that Brunson's going to have better games, but the gap right now is not close between Cat and Brunson in the series. Brunson has been flat bad outside of one quarter. He's had one good quarter of basketball. This has not been an MVP finals conversation between these two players.
Kind of crazy, though, isn't it? Right? Like Cat and Brunson, but again, it just feels like more of a popularity contest than anything else, right?
I don't know, because the voters listen. You ask your guy Pat behind the scenes if it's a popularity contest. Unless secretly everybody likes Jaylen Brown and hates Jason Tatum, and I don't. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, unless Pascal Siakam is secretly everyone's beloved boy and Halliburton upset everybody. Like, no, I don't think it is. And but let me just tell you guys this, and everybody watching and listening. It's one of the rare spots you can't trust the odds. The odds have now consistently gotten these markets wrong. And I don't mean entering a series. I mean there's 2 minutes left in the final closeout game, and they have the wrong person favored. We've seen it before.
Knicks Twitter going to be on fire tonight. Could it be a 3-0 series lead and a coronation party at the Garden? We'll find out. But catch Kevin on In Game Live this week, and he's going to be getting you ready for the World Cup as well.
Talk has been about sports betting handle being down or flat, right, because of the threat of prediction markets and the growth of them. But we've seen Kalshi actually kind of plateau for the first time in recent memory. Looking at a graphic right now, we've had the spike for the Super Bowl, and then this is usually when things die down. Yes, there's March Madness, but usually sports betting handle kind of goes down over the course of spring and summer until we get back to football season.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
For Abdul Carter. Hey, son, you want to be a leader? Show up to meetings on time. Don't be late to practice. This guy's sitting there trying to tell me that he's got a problem with Jackson Dart going to a Trump rally when he can't even show up to a meeting on time? And he can't show up to practice and he's late? Dude.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
This is all about headlines, Donnie. If we hear, if that noise gets louder as we get closer, then 45 cents is going to be 65 cents, and that's the repricing we're talking about. I don't need Utah to get him. I need people to think Utah is going to go up and get him, Donnie, and that's how you make money.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Craig Carton along with Tyrone Johnson. We got great news for you. CraigCartonShow.com. And Tyrone, what do you get if you go to that amazing website?
Well, right now you can subscribe to our upcoming newsletter. You put in your email address, and then bang, you'll get all the new Craig Carton Show content when it arrives.
Not just that, you also get merch drops, exclusive content, and appearances. So again, one more time, that website is CraigCartonShow.com.
Back for more. Back to the business is how we get down. Starting the week off in style. We're going to get to that in just a few moments here with a couple best bets. And also we'll tell you about a Fade the Public poll, but other news out here, which includes sometimes like all PR is usually good PR because it gets you talking. This PR, not so much from The Athletic here. 9 people have suffered injuries in a shooting near England's World Cup base in Kansas City, Missouri. Police were called to reports of an incident on Troost Avenue, a short drive from the training base and team hotel for England. How about that, Joe? You get a little, I guess they got it popping, you could say. Yeah.
This happened, it was funny in Kansas City. I think this happened. Didn't Andy Reid's office get shot up? Was it last season or right? Some along those lines. Like, what's going on in Kansas City I'm missing here that we can't get any sporting events without there being gunshots fired all over the place?
Yeah, somebody in the middle of the night just took a long-range rifle out and popped a shot in the Andy Reid's empty office building. Yeah, something ain't right in Kansas. Maybe that's why they're moving out, Joe, of Kansas City and trying to, I guess, get across the border at this point here. More from The Athletic about football. A member of Iraq's World Cup squad was held for questioning by U.S. immigration officials when he arrived in the country for the tournament on Friday. According to Reuters, striker Ayman Hussein, the Iraq vice captain and one of the country's key players, was held at Chicago's O'Hare Airport for almost 7 hours after arriving with his international teammates and staff members there. A lot of questioning going on, Joe, huh?
Apparently a lot of questioning going on there, Donnie, but something tells me it'll all work itself out and he'll be ready for his first match coming up this week.
Cup play starts this week. Get excited, people. But before we do that, let's see what the public's talking about in our Fade the Public poll. Knicks Spurs are what we're talking about tonight, and you see some of the early looks there. The Knicks, 75%, and rightfully so. They are the public favorite, it feels like right now, to win this game. But if I take a look, Joe, at some of those betting splits, the San Antonio Spurs getting close to 55% of those tickets here. I don't like anything of what the Spurs have done in games 1, game 2, because they haven't won, and now you're on the road in game number 3. But, I like to be a little bit contrarian here, Joe, but I still think the Knicks do win tonight. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting because it depends on how this game starts, Donnie. I think that's the key to what we have to watch here tonight. But it's no secret, Donnie, the Spurs, we said they were young, but it's finally caught up with them. The inexperience, they have looked like a deer caught in the headlights on a number of important, spots in these first 2 games. I don't know that that's good. That was at home, Donnie. What are they going to do in Madison Square Garden here tonight?
Exactly. It's going to be on fire tonight. Get there early, get everything scanned and screened, get your ticket, and we'll see how it comes up. And again, I want to see how expensive these price points actually hit by the time we get close to game time. But it's time, Joe. New week, new money to get the week started off in style. Here comes Best Bets and bye. Take it away, Joe. What do we got?
Well, Donnie, we'll go to that NBA game here tonight. And listen, we went with the over on Friday, and that didn't work out because nobody can hit a free throw or a 3. But if you like the Spurs to make this a series, I don't see how any of this happens without them scoring at least 110 points. Their team total is 107 and a half here, Donnie. The first one to 110 is going to win this game. This is not going to be a 105-100 kind of game. I think we do get more offense from both teams here tonight, but I think 107 and a half is a little bit light here for San Antonio. So I will take their team total up and over tonight in this one.
Show up, Wemby. For me, I'm going back to Major League Baseball with a nice analytical play. Last time we took a look at Spencer Arrighetti here, pitcher for the Houston Astros. He had great numbers, but something wasn't adding up here, and he got shelled in his last start. Well, how about this one again, Joe? A 119 xFIP minus, you say, is high, but hold on. That ERA on his season still at 1.94. But if you take a look at the ERA, which I don't really care all that much about, just use it as a baseline number, Joe, his xFIP number is 4.94, an absolute disaster. I don't love the Angels, but I'll tell you this, a plus money number, the team total over 4.5 against a pitcher that should get smashed. I'm in on that. Let's go 2-0 to start this week on a Monday, and a great way to get down to business, Joe. I think it happens. I do. I like what we got.
I love it, Donnie. I think it's going to be a great way to kick off the week here tonight in Game 3.
Predictive Markets Edge on the early line, coming to you live next. Don't go anywhere, people. We'll be here. Hey. On the Grizzy Grid.